Thought I would attempt to show you a little bit about what I'm doing. As you can see, right in this area here, it's kind of rough. Okay, I put some coats on, shellac on last night, and put a little bit of shellac and alcohol mix. See what I can do about working that out. All I do is get in that one area, just kind of sit there, go round and around in a circle. And of course what it does is it dissolves, and at the same time I'm polishing, and as you can see it's starting to look a little bit smoother. Let's see what I can do about up here now. This particular headstock has been a problem up in this area anyway. So I think I'm going to wind up having to load it up with some shellac so I can work it down the way I want it. See, it's smoothed out pretty good. The thing about this is there's a fine point between where you stay there too long, then the pad starts to pull the shellac back up, and then you're back to square one again. And the headstock is extremely irritating. I'm actually wishing I had used a more or less of some type of leveler, regular grain fill up here. Now this is something that I just started using. Got to do a little prep work on it first. This is just a regular piece of felt. You use it in drawings, graphite drawing and stuff, to push your graphite around so that you can control what you're looking at. And up in these edges, as you can see right in this area, it's hard to get that piece up in there, the rubbing pad, the Munica, I don't know how you pronounce it. Stands for tampon. But this piece of felt does pretty good. Once it starts to dissolve, it's kind of labor intensive, but it works. I can just sit in that one area and go round and round and round, just like you would with a regular rubbing pad, and it smooths everything out. And as the alcohol dissolves the shellac into a paste, then the hardness and stiffness of the felt right in that area will maneuver it around and kind of squeegee it into the holes so that you wind up filling everything. That's one reason I said I kind of wish maybe I had used a regular grain sealer instead of doing the French polish up in here. Could have saved myself some trouble maybe, but I like the way the French polish looks. I think what's the word, the aesthetics of it just looks better to me. Don't know if you can see, but in this area you can see where I've been trying to watch and turn at the same time. Then if you look, there we go. Then up here you see how it's still rough, got holes. I need to have a shop cleaning day. Okay, there you can see, trying to angle it, it's a little bit better, but as you can see, it filled that in pretty well. Pretty happy with that. I could never get the rubbing pad up in that area to do what was needed. Sometimes the more stubborn holes at other spots can be worked out by doing the same thing. Of course, then you have to go back over everything, refill it, well, not refill it, but recoat it so that you got several layers of shellac, and you have to go back and do a wet sand, or I prefer to do a wet sand. With the wet sand, I do it with, instead of water, I use, not alcohol, I use olive oil. And yeah, a little of it soaks down in the wood through the open pores, but it tends to gas back out and congregate on the top where an alcohol rub will remove it. But if I used water, it would show up. It would get right into the grain, swell the grain, and then I'd just be steady fighting the grain. So I prefer to fight taking the oil off than I do trying to keep the grain from swelling. Lesser of two evils. I seem to be able to control the oil better than I can the swell of the grain. And could appreciate any comment someone would have to explain why I have problems with that. See in here, that's a little uneven. I'm not too worried about it. I can come back later and, like I said, do the wet sand, and that'll take care of all that. I got two holes. Kind of hard to see. One there and there. Let's see if I can fill those up. My video setup's kind of hard to maneuver. It's a good camera. It's not necessarily a good video, but it worked pretty good. Okay, now I think it's time to put some polish back on here. Always load out from over the top of your instrument. Trust me, it's a bad deal to try to load the rubbing pad over the top of your instrument. Since I was working the other day, took this bottle, wasn't paying attention, did some work, had the top off, set the top back on, didn't screw it down, and poured about a quarter of the bottle over the neck of the guitar. Instant panic. But it worked out okay. I didn't try to wipe it, which would have marred the finish. I took it immediately over to a fan, turned the fan on, and started praying. But it didn't cause me any significant problems, but it could have, just out of stupidity. I'm not too worried about the finish at the moment. This is a Friday. I'm hoping Monday or Tuesday to actually start putting on lacquer. But at the moment, I'm just trying to build up a coat so I can smooth this back out and get it smooth like I want. It's a kit guitar from StewMac. Been pretty happy with it. There was a few things that I had to take into account that their book, their instructions didn't mention. But it wouldn't be much fun if you just didn't have to do anything, we just put the puzzle together. Like I said on the first video, I've learned so much about guitars off of this thing. It has been a blast. Okay, I'm going to let that sit, harden up, then see what I got.